friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and today we're going to be doing our March TBR. So I kind of failed at my February TBR. I read like 3 of the books on it, but whatever, we're having a good time. It doesn't matter. I read some good books in February anyway, but we're gonna do March, and I have it's a very short TBR, and honestly, most of these books have been on previous TBRs and I just haven't gotten to them yet, but March, I'm gonna try and get to them and finally read them because I want to. I really do want to. I'm gonna just go through them, tell you which ones that I hope to read in March, and we're just gonna get right into it. So we're gonna start with new releases like I always do for my TBRs. I have 3, I believe, that I definitely will want to read in March. The first one is Wild River by Laura Pavlov. You guys know how much of a big Laura Pavlov fan I am. I am so excited for the next book in this. I think it's called Magnolia Springs series. I loved Loving Romeo so much, and I'm dying for Wild River. I am crossing my fingers that I'm able to get an arc of this one. I was able to get an arc of Loving Romeo, so I'm hoping that I can get one for Wild River because I do just love Laura Pavlov that much, and she's one of those ones that I want to read as soon as freaking possible. So I'm hoping I can read that one, and I just love the friend group from Loving Romeo, and so I'm just really excited to be back in that world with those people because I love them. The next one that I have is If You Hate Me by Helena Hunting, which comes out March 7th. I love Helena Hunting and I'm really excited for this new one. It looks so good. It's a brother's best friend romance and it just really looks good, and this is another one that I'm really thinking that I might get an arc for. I am hoping that I get an arc for this one. But even if I don't, that's okay. It comes out in the beginning of March. I am very excited for it and I definitely want to read it. The third new release that I have is Darkest Sins by Neva Altaj. I love the Perfectly Imperfect series by Neva Altaj, and this is, I think, book 8 or 9 in the series, and I'm caught up on this series so I can jump right into this one when it comes out. It comes out on the 28th of March. I don't know if I said that. And I am going to jump into it probably that day. This is a mafia series and I'm so excited for this one. I don't know which characters this one's following, but I have an idea based on what happened in the most previous book. So I'm really hoping that I love it. I really think that I will, and I just love this series so much, and I'm excited to be back in the world with Neva Altaj's writing because I love them. The next one that I have is actually one that was on my February TBR but I didn't get to, and that is Sincerely Your Inconvenient Wife by Julia Wolf. I love P.S. You're Intolerable by Julia Wolf, and I've read book 1 in this series as well, which is called Dear Grumpy Boss, and this is the second one. I skipped to the third one when I read P.S. You're Intolerable, and I want to go back and read the second one. I have had some difficulty with my neurological condition. I was doing really well with it and reading a ton of ebooks, and now it has gotten worse again, and so ebooks have been really hard for me. I've not been able to read a ton of ebooks in February, so it's just gotten really difficult for me. So it's gonna be like probably 1 or 2 max per month that I'm going to be able to read until I can get it under control again. But this is one that I'm going to really try and read on ebook because I don't even think it has an audiobook, and I read the book 1 and book 3 on ebook. But again, if I don't get to it, I'm not going to like push myself for it because my head's been really bad lately and it's been really hard to like focus and see. The next one that I have is Distorted by Nyla K. This is book 1 in her Alabaster Penitentiary series. I read For the Fans by Nyla K last year and I loved it, and I really want to read more from her, especially before I see her at a Polycon in April. And this is an MM one from her, and I really want to read this MM series just because I did like For the Fans so much. I think that this is a darker series. I think it deals with prisons. I mean, it's called Alabaster Penitentiary, so I think it's like a lot darker, so I am intrigued by it. I don't know a ton about it. I don't really need to know a ton about it before going into it, so I'm gonna try it and hope that I love it as much as For the Fans. Then I have Stone Hearts by Amber Kelly. I have wanted to continue this series. This is the Poplar Falls series. I read Rustic Hearts I think 2 years ago now, and I really, really loved that one. It was just such a sweet small town romance with really good family vibes, and I've wanted to continue the series for ages and I never did. So this is book 2 in that series, and I want to finally get back to it and read it because I think that I'll like it. I really did like Rustic Hearts, and I want to read more from Amber Kelly. And again, I want to read more from authors that I've only like read one book from, that I really liked that one book. So that's where like Nyla Kay and Amber Kelly come in. Then I have Who's Your Daddy by Lauren Rowe. I love Lauren Rowe with my whole heart, and I've read her entire Morgan Brothers universe, and honestly I think I've read almost all of Lauren Rowe's books, but she's released 2 or 3 new ones within the last like 6 months, and I haven't gotten to those ones yet, so I want to finally jump into them. I love Lauren Rowe's audiobooks. She always does such a fantastic job with them, and so I'm really excited to get this audiobook and read this one. I believe this is an age gap one. I mean, it's called Who's Your Daddy? So I think this is an age gap one. And I'm just really excited to read a brand new Lauren Rowe book because it's been so long since I read a new one from her. I think the last new release from her that I read was Swoon, which came out so freaking long ago. So I'm so excited to have a new one from her because I love her so much. Then I want to finally jump into Haven by Claire Kent. This one is a novella post-apocalyptic, I think, that has been on my TBR for a really, really long time. I've seen Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings talk about and love Claire Kent, and I finally tried Claire Kent in January, and I read one of her novellas, but it was not in this series, and I liked it. It was a good time, but I think that this is the series that I'm really gonna like from her, so I want to finally read it and jump in and try it because I do really think that I'm going to like it, and I want something. I think that if I'm going to be able to read an ebook, because this one doesn't have an audiobook, a novella is a really good place for me to try, so it's short and I'm not going to push myself, because I really do want to read this one, and I can't be buying a ton of audiobooks. I can't, but I still want to be reading, so I'm gonna have to try and read on my Kindle, but again, if I don't get to it, it's okay. But yeah, I've been having to buy a lot more audiobooks recently because I haven't been reading on ebook as much, and it's getting very expensive. I mean, very expensive. Audiobooks are expensive. Okay, so the last one that I have written down is The Unwanted Marriage by Katharina Mora. This is one that I own physically and I own on Audible already. I have really been wanting to read this one. I haven't read any Katharina Mora yet, and I really do think that I'm going to like her. She writes like billionaire ones. I want to read the Windsor series, and that's the series that this book is in. I think this is book like 3 or 4, but I'm just gonna jump right in, you know, hope that I understand what's going on. I'm pretty sure that they can all be read as standalones, but people love this book and love Katharina Mora, and I just want to be in with the hype. And she is just an absolute sweetheart. Like, she's so cute. I saw her at Book Bonanza, and she's just so sweet and nice and just gorgeous, and I want to support her more. So I want to read this book. So that's the last one that I had written down, but just like I did in February for my February TBR, I am going to pick some out of this Taylor Swift bucket here of authors that are going to a Polycon. I have a few already on my TBR, like Nyla Kay and Amber Kelly are both going to be at a Polycon, but I want to pick out 2 more from this bucket. I picked 2 in February and I didn't read either of them, but I attempted one and DNF'd it, and then I tried a couple of from her, it wasn't like an official DNF. I didn't mark it as an official DNF, but it was, let me go back to it was Jana McGregor. I attempted a couple of hers and they just felt like 3 stars, so I ended up putting them down. But like I said, they're not official DNFs, but I removed her from my like list of people to read for a Polycon. And then the other author that I pulled last month was Lola Rock, and I've read the Pack Darling duet by Lola Rock and I love them. And the other book, her most recent book, is what I was going to try and read, and that's Red Fang Royal, and that one the audiobook's not out, and I messaged Lola to see when the audiobook was going to be out, and she said that it wasn't going to be out until later this year, but I think I'm going to wait for that audiobook because I did really like the Pack Darling audio, and again, I'm having a hard time reading ebooks, so I just want to save that one for the audio, so I pushed that one off. But I did attempt both books, both authors that came up last month. So we're gonna do 2 more, and oh, I just dumped them out. Oh gosh. Okay. So, oh, I dropped it. Oh, I keep dropping it. We're gonna go with that one. I really want to read more from the authors that are gonna be at ApolloCon. Oh, so the first one that I got was On Lee James. I love On Lee James's Necessary Evil series, but I do want to read more from her. I've been wanting to try her, like, the series that follows up after the Necessary Evil series, which I think is called Jericho's Boys, but I don't know if they have an audiobook. Let me look them up. I've read her Elite Protection series also. It looks like the Jericho's Boys books don't have audiobooks. Paladin is the first one. I'll try to get to it, but again, it doesn't have an audiobook, so it's very unlikely that I'll get to it. But I'll pick I'll try and get to it. I'll like write her name down, but again, I'll pick another one and see. Okay, this one. Okay, so this one is Rebecca Sharp. So Rebecca Sharp has been to a couple of different signings that I've been to, but I've never met her because I've never read her books, and I've always like tried to read her books before the like signings, and I never get to it. So I think that I want to read this Reynolds Protection series. It's a like romantic suspense style. This one says Small Town Bodyguard Romance. So I think I'm going to read Archer by Rebecca Sharp. I think that's what I'm going to go with. And I'm going to add that to my TBR. But that's going to be it for this TBR. So like this video if you liked it, subscribe, stick around, see more content from me. Let me know down in the comments below what you plan on reading in March. Or if you don't want to write what you're reading in March, leave me the like okay emoji, like the hand where it's like going like this. Leave me that emoji. And I hope that you have the absolute best day. Bye.